Hello everyone, Kamatz here. As the video title implies, there's been yet another release of the ODROID-GO firmware. There are a lot of cool things, and that's why I decided to make a video for it. I also wanted to address some of the issues that have come up on the forum and some things that have been reported in the YouTube comments. For starters, if you follow my tutorial and upgrade to the latest firmware, and you end up seeing a red SD card with a box with an X in it, what that usually means after upgrading from an older firmware release is that you haven't added the new folders that are needed for the new firmware. Also, you may notice on the ODROID-GO firmware page that there is a new firmware marked as pre-release that just came out. This version is mainly for developers and people helping the developers test. It is not for general use, that's why it's marked as a pre-release, so please don't upgrade to this. The latest firmware right now as of the making of this video is the 2018-0727 firmware. And that is the device firmware, the one that's in the repository labeled ODROID-GO-firmware. The new Go Play firmware, which I'm highlighting in this video, was released on the 10th, so it has a date of 2018-08-10. And that is the firmware that you'll be upgrading to. That is compatible with the device firmware from the 27th of last month. So let's get into the new features. First one I want to show you, or actually more like let you hear, is that the latest Go Play firmware supports an external DAC. A DAC is a digital analog converter, for those of you that don't know, and this support allows you to hook up a higher resolution audio device to your ODROID-GO and use either external speakers or earphones to listen to your games. So I'm going to let you hear what this sounds like. I'm going to go into Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and we're going to just bypass that, and that's a new feature as well. And as you can hear, that is Sonic the Hedgehog 2's music being played into my computer for your enjoyment. He's kind of impatient waiting for me to do something. So let me just show you what's going on. These cables here connect to this, which is the DAC that I purchased off of Amazon. I will have a link in the video description. It is not a sponsored link. I bought one of these myself with my own money. I just wanted to show you which one I'm using. So you can see here it's plugged into audio cable. That goes to the back of my computer and I'm capturing it with my sound card. So let's go ahead and turn off the sound. There we go. So now it's muted, and that's the first volume level, second volume level, third volume level, and the fourth volume level. So you can kind of hear the difference between the 4 volume levels. So we're back here on the main menu. Let me show you how to switch between the internal speaker and an external DAC when you get one. This wavy line is a square wave symbol that other crash override put in to the firmware to indicate that this is actually using the external DAC. So to switch between the external and internal DAC, you just hold down the volume button and you push the right D-pad. And you can see there that now we're back on the internal speaker. I can turn up the volume. Let me go back into the game. And I'll take this opportunity to show you another feature that's actually been in the firmware for a little while, but you might not know about it. If you use Select and Start while you're in the list of ROMs, you can actually skip by letter. So for example, if you hit Start, it'll jump down to O, then to P, then to R, and then to S, which is where we wanted to go. A little bit shorter when you have a lot of ROMs to navigate. This version, by the way, also fixes an issue where if you had too many ROMs loaded, the menu would actually crash. And that has been fixed in this version as well. So let's select Sonic the Hedgehog. And we're going to skip that again. That's another new feature. And you can hear that it works fine. Now, another new feature is that when you hit the menu button to go back to the menu, it actually puts you right back to where you were. And that's a pretty cool feature. And last but not least, when you go into a game, it shows you the ROM art for the game, and there is a process to get that I'm going to explain later. And it allows you to either press the start button to load the game without loading your save file, and this will overwrite your save file when you exit the game, so keep that in mind. Or press A to resume the game from whatever save file you may have, just like it used to do. So you pretty much just press A twice to get into the game like you used to do, or press start to reset the game if somebody else may have been playing the game and you want to erase the save file. You don't have to take it to your computer now to delete the save file. You can just do it right from here. So let's talk about the ROM art. There's a link in the video description to a forum post, and it talks about this new feature and also has a download link for the ROM art. The ROM art file was actually put together by ODROID. He spent some time and pulled down a bunch of ROM art and set it up to work with the ODROID-GO. The ODROID-GO is very limited, as I've talked about in my other videos, so it took a lot to get the ROM art into the thing to work like this. It actually goes by the CRC32 hash of the files, so you'll see when you unpack the file onto your SD card that there's a bunch of files and they all have these weird hex names, and that's the CRC32 of each game. So if there isn't ROM art, then the game you're playing just doesn't match something that he put together. Now right now there isn't a tool to create your own ROM art, but I would imagine that the community will come up with one pretty soon. And two other things that are addressed in this release: screen scaling settings for the individual emulators are now remembered in this release, along with some improvements to Game Boy and Game Boy Color performance when screens blank between scenes. In some games, to blank the screen, they actually sent a command to the hardware to disable the screen. Other Crash Override has put a fix into the emulator for Game Boy and Game Boy Color that fixes some of the performance issues that people are having playing games that use this feature. So let me just jump back to the ROM art real quick. I'm going to go to a game that doesn't have ROM art. So you can see here this just has a placeholder. And every emulator that's included in the Go Play firmware has placeholders for the different consoles. So if there isn't a ROM art file for that particular ROM, then it'll just show this placeholder. The ROM art thing is completely optional. If you don't want it, you don't have to install the ROM art. You don't even have to create the folder on your SD card for the ROM art. Now the last thing I want to talk about is my channel. The ODROID-GO has been a project that I've been really interested in lately, and that's why all my videos so far have been about the ODROID-GO. But I also do a bunch of other things with electronics. These are some of the things that I play with. I have a whole box of this kind of stuff. I figured I'd just highlight some of the different boards that I have used over the years. Now in the future I might make videos about these different boards and projects that I've done on them. If you're interested in that, just leave a comment in the comments section to say what you'd be interested in seeing. There's a lot of different things here. They're mostly Arduino based boards, but for now expect to see a lot of ODROID-GO related videos. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. I'll be making more videos about the ODROID-GO and other technology related videos going forward. So thank you for watching. That's all for now.